Namaste and welcome to another installment of Healthy Hips and Healthy Spine. So we are going to be looking at strengthening and also releasing the hip flexors, moving in the 6 degrees of freedom throughout the spine as well through this practice. If you do have a block, make sure you have that handy. If not, you can do this practice easily without the block as well. We're going to be using the block for this very first part of the class to build that strength through the inner thighs. As you switch on the glutes, you'll be able to feel, hopefully, the hip flexors releasing a little more as well. So just start with your block, if you've got that, to come down onto your back. Let the hands settle down onto the lower belly for a moment and feel the spine dropping into the floor. And take a moment just to connect with your breath, your natural breath, moving in, moving out. Feeling the support of the earth beneath you so that you perhaps can now start to relax a little bit of that effort through the body. It might be softening through the jaw. Notice if you're holding on through the back body, even right down there to the glutes, to soften everything and melt your body's weight down into the earth. And feel yourself arriving to this practice as you follow these next 3 breaths. And then you can take your block and bring it in between your feet. Now you've got the really wide setting or the narrower setting. Take the narrow setting, bring that narrow setting in between the feet and extend the legs up. You could have your hands underneath your bottom here as well to support the lower back. And already you're feeling that engagement drawing in to hold that block above you. Then as you begin to breathe out, start to bend the knees and lower the block down towards the floor. So you're finding this butterfly shape through the legs. Take a breath in, lifting all the way back up, continuing to engage through the inner thighs. And exhale to lower down with control. See if you can move in those 2 directions at a similar pace. Pressing the soles of the feet in towards the block as you lower the block and then extending the legs back up. Just twice more like this. As you're lowering the block down, hugging the feet inward, you're feeling the glutes active. Then lower the block all the way to the floor, but continue to press the soles of the feet inward to the block. And then notice the spine. You might need to lengthen a little through the lower back. You might find a lifting through the mid-spine. So see if you can settle the back into the floor, staying engaged through the soles of the feet, hugging in through those inner thighs. So you should feel the glutes working here, which then reciprocal inhibition allows that release through the hip flexors. So staying with these last 3 breaths. Soften the feet and just relax the knees down a little more towards the earth. And in this way, you're also releasing that effort through the glutes now, softening the buttocks. Not needing to force the knees down, just more surrendering that effort. And notice what you notice here. Softer all the way to the soles of the feet, the tips of the toes. And then begin to guide those knees to face back up towards the ceiling. Bring the hands down to the hips. Let's take these pelvic tilts. So keeping the bottom grounded. Inhale, tilt the hips towards the feet. Create that little arch through the lower back. As you exhale, draw the hips back towards the navel. Feel the lower back reconnect to the mat. Inhale to tilt forward. And exhale, drawing back. So bring a little bit of core engagement into this movement. So you're not loading up the lower back. The lower back's not doing all of the work here. Next time your lower back is reconnected, extend your right leg up towards the ceiling. Make a big circle with this right leg. Now you can use your hands if you like, extending that leg out in one direction. You might even reach it over into the opposite side as much as you like here. Just feeling into that range of movement through the hips, but again, using that strength of those surrounding, supporting muscles. Even as you change direction, maybe slow it down. Challenge yourself here to be slower, more controlled, more aware. And then as that leg comes through center, place the ankle on top of the left knee. Relax that right leg for a moment. Either stay with this option or bring the left knee in towards the chest, holding the shin or the back of the thigh. Continue to keep the head and shoulders grounded. Directing the breath through the body where you're needing a little bit of space. Softening those edges. Then releasing both feet down onto the floor. So you can extend your legs long here, bring them down into the middle of your mat before sliding the left leg out to the side, followed by the right. Let the legs meet beside each other or place the right heel on top of the left ankle. Bring the hands back to the hips. Feel that they're facing towards the ceiling evenly. Move the flesh of the buttocks if needed. Find a heaviness now through the heels, through the legs. You might like to start dropping that left shoulder down towards the feet or lightly extend the arms up and overhead. Feeling into this C-shape curve of your spine. Noticing where the parts of your body touch into the floor. And let that effort surrender down to gravity. Slowly bring the upper body back through to the center of your mat, followed by one leg at a time. You can then bend the knees, take the left leg up towards the ceiling, extend that leg, and again, making these big, slow circles. The hands under the buttocks can work as a great support. And taking the hands to the hips. Whatever you're choosing with those hands to make that connection with the whole body working together here in unity. And then changing direction, slower, more controlled, more aware. Feeling everything. And then that ankle will come to rest on top of the right knee. Find your figure four. Relax now through that left leg. Keep the right foot grounded or take the leg in towards the chest. Listen for that soft sound of your breath. Staying full, just one more full round of breath in. And exhaling all the way to the bottom. Release both feet to the floor. Extend the legs long. Slide the right leg out to the side, followed by the left. Take the time to move the flesh of the buttocks. Feel those hips even. Perhaps starting to drop that right shoulder towards the feet, or even taking the arms out to the side, just loosely in this relaxed space, focusing more on that bend through the spine. And then where could you let go into this space? Where could you let go into these moments? As you begin to bring yourself back through to the center of your mat. Just one leg at a time. You can then bend the knees once more, bring the feet about hip distance, wide as no problem. Bring the first finger, the tallest finger, to the top of those hip points and the thumb to the bottom of your rib cage. Now, as you draw the hip points towards the navel, feel that lower back lengthen as you were in your pelvic tilts before. And then from that longer spine position, can you lift up into your bridge pose and aim not to shorten the space between the finger and the thumb. Release the spine slowly back down. Take a moment to reset. Lengthen the spine, draw the hips back slightly. Inhale, lifting up lower back, mid back and upper back. Keeping that space between the finger and the thumb. And exhaling, coming all the way down. Twice more here with your breath, engaging into the feet, the shoulders, the back of the head. The glutes are switching on here, which allows you to release those hip flexors. So activating through the buttocks on the ascent, even as you pause at the top, and keeping those muscles on as you lower the spine all the way back down. Once you do touch down, bring the knees in towards the chest, cupping the hands over the knees, and take the knees wide, finding your happy baby here. So hands could remain on the knees or the back of the thighs. If you've got them on the back of the thighs, could you then turn the soles of the feet up like you're pressing footprints into the ceiling? Maybe holding on to the inner or outer edge of your foot. Continue to draw the knees down towards the sides of the body. And then what would it feel like to release the hands? Stay active all the way through the soles. You might now lengthen the lower back down, reaching the tailbone to the end of your mat. And then guiding those knees back in towards center. Holding onto the knees, rocking up and down through center. And coming all the way up. Let's find diamond pose here. Soles of the feet connect. Draw them away from the body. Come a little to the front of the sit bones. As you hold the legs, take a breath in. Draw the chest forward, shoulders back. As you exhale, round through the spine. Tuck the chin to chest. Inhale forward. You might lift the chin and look up. Exhale, sitting back and rounding through the spine. One more round of breath, staying for the inhale and the exhale. Finding the spine neutral, tilt forward slightly. Take the arms up as you breathe in. Reach over to the right side. Take this lean as you exhale. Press into that hand. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, lengthen the side body. Exhale, stay open through the chest. You might look up under that opposite arm. As you come back through center, prepare to twist to the right, bringing the left hand across the outside of the right knee. Lifting the spine tall, breathing in. Stay for the exhale. As you inhale, take the arms up alongside the ears, twisting to the left as you breathe out. Pressing into that back hand, helping the spine lift out of the pelvis, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Take the arms up alongside the ears as you breathe in. Palms connect, exhale down through center. Let those soles of the feet come onto the floor, holding onto the knees. Create this bowl shape through the front body as you sit back. Perhaps the toes are lifting, letting the shoulders drop away from the ears. A moment of stillness here, or you might enjoy a little movement, rocking from side to side, or anything else that feels good there. And then coming all the way up, extend your right leg, fold your left leg in. Activate the toes on that foot, draw them towards the shins. Hold the hands on either side of that leg. Inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, rounding as you bring the head down. Inhale, lifting up, maybe peel the shoulders back here a little. Exhale, hinging out forward and down. One more like this, breathing in, ripple the spine up, and exhale to fold. Coming all the way up, take the arms up alongside the ears. As you breathe out, bending to your right. Get a little heavier through that left knee. Inhale through center and exhale to the other side. Coming all the way up, bring the right hand behind you. Take the left hand to the outside of that extended leg. Feel the belly expanding and contracting with the breath. As you inhale, reach the arms up alongside the ears and rotating towards the left. Inhale, arms come up alongside the ears, lift the spine, and exhale, come down through center. So let's find deer pose here, bending through that right leg, tuck it in behind you. We're then going to lean over towards the left side. You can twist here as much as you like. And then could you lift that right foot off the floor? Pulsing it back down to touch. Inhale to lift, just feeling that range of movement here through that right hip. And again, the surrounding supporting muscles active. Maybe as you lower the foot down, it just hovers above the mat without actually touching. Just pulsing the leg like this. And then that foot can come all the way down. Take a breath in, lift the spine, and then could you draw the chest down towards the floor as you breathe out, a little half push-up. Inhale to come back up through center. Exhale, chest towards the floor. One more like this. As you come all the way up, bring the chest to the front of your mat. Extend your right leg now. You're grounding down onto the heels so the knee is facing towards the ceiling. Slide the right hand down the leg. Inhale, take the left arm up and over. As you exhale, just returning the spine to neutral. Breathing in. Again, rotating the chest up a little rather than collapsing the chest. Find that space. Shortening the right side waist, lengthening the left side, the top side. One last time, we're reaching all the way across towards that right foot. And then coming all the way up, returning to deer pose by folding that right leg in behind you, leaning back into the hands or lifting up through the hips, belly and chest, looking forward or up, hugging the knees in towards each other, like you're trying to touch them in the middle of your mat. And then as you release this next breath, release the hips all the way back down. Taking that left leg out in front, right leg folds in, drawing the toes back towards you, hands alongside that leg. Inhale to lift, exhale, folding forward. Let the spine round. Breathing in, roll the spine back up. Reaching out forward and down as you breathe out. Once more like this. As you come all the way up, take the arms up alongside the ears, reaching over towards the left. Heavy through that right knee. Inhale back through center and exhale to the other side. Adding our twist, breathing into lift, rotating around towards the left, pivoting through the lower ribs, through the chest. Take a breath in to lift the spine before twisting towards the right. Inhale to lift the arms up, palms connect overhead, breathing out to lower towards the chest. We're finding deer pose, so that left leg tucks in behind you. Reach the hands over towards and perhaps even behind you slightly here, so you can let that left hip come into the twist. And then could you lift that left foot off the floor, just pulsing the foot up and down. Perhaps it lands, perhaps it hovers. And then placing that foot all the way down, take a breath in and then rotating around and down the chest towards the floor. Inhale to lift up. You could widen the hands, ensure there's that bend through the elbows, space from collarbone to collarbone. One last time. Feel the spine and the head heavy as you draw them down towards the floor. Coming all the way up, bringing yourself back around to the front of your mat, extending the left leg out. Knee is facing towards the ceiling. Slide the left hand down the leg. Take the right arm up. Inhale. And exhale. Come back through center. With your breath. One last time, reaching towards that left foot. Perhaps looking up underneath that right arm. And then returning back to that neutral spine. Finding deer pose once again, left leg behind you. Leaning back into the hands. Or lifting up slowly, hips, belly and chest. Hugging the knees towards each other. Feeling yourself lifting up through the lower ribs, through the chest, hugging in through the glutes. You'll release those hip flexors a little more without loading up the lower back. We're here for one last breath in and then releasing all the way down. You're going to find your way onto your hands and knees. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Curl the toes under. Lifting up through the chest and the sit bones as you take a breath in. And as you breathe out, rounding through the spine and pressing up into downward facing dog. As soon as you're ready to breathe in once again, lower the knees, scoop up from the navel to the heart. Exhale, round the spine, press into the hands, lengthen the spine as you lift the sit bones. Coming down, ready to breathe in. Exhale to round before lifting up, shoulder blades moving up towards the sit bones, finding that length of spine. Taking one more like this. When you do find your next downward facing dog, just pausing there and explore continuing to have that deep bend through the knees. Notice how that often enables you to find more length of spine rather than that rounding midway. You're drawing the front ribs into the back of your shirt. We're preparing to find our plank pose or half plank. So your half plank will have your knees to the floor, both variations, shoulders will come over the wrists. As you breathe in, shift forward slightly, look forward, exhale, release with control, coming all the way down. Find your Sphinx pose, coming onto the forearms. Reaching back into the tops of the feet, feel the knees lift a little and hugging in through the ankles and the inner thighs. Create that stable base. Feel the spine lifting forward and up. You might sense the shoulder blades moving down away from the ears, grounding down through the forearms, elbows, palms. And using your next exhalation to lower the torso and the head all the way down. Prepare to move away from the earth, coming up through hands and knees as you breathe in. As you breathe out, downward facing dog. Take a moment to find steadiness. Explore that moment of ease. And then as you bend the knees a little deeper, bring the feet forward to the front of your mat. When you arrive, lift your chest halfway as you take a breath in. And on the exhale, slowly draw the chest down towards the thighs. Bend the knees, lower the hips, a slow spinal roll to come all the way up. Letting the shoulders come back and down. Just take that moment to feel into the body, the whole left side, the whole right side. As you then bring your hands to your hips, explore your natural position of your pelvis. It can be helpful to have a slight bend through the knees. Start by tilting the hips forward slightly. The bottom will lift up and out. And then as you draw the hips back, you're lifting the hip points forward. And there's that little bit of dip through the lower back. So if you're imagining your pelvis to be like a bowl of water, at some point in those two ranges, water would spill. So just find that neutral position for you. And then keeping the hands to the hips, facing the hip points to the front of your mat, bring a little more weight into the left leg so that you can take your right leg back behind you. You're just balancing on that right big toe. Again, take the time to position the hips forward. Now, while you've got this leg back, you're probably already sensing that as you squeeze the glutes, you're creating more stability here. So as we switch on the glutes, switch on the hamstrings, we're going to release more through the hip flexor. From here, you're just going to lift that leg a little bit off the mat and then lower it back down. Keep the shoulders up over the hips as much as you can. It's only a tiny little lift here. Feeling those glutes active as the leg lifts without opening that right hip. And then you're stepping that right foot back underneath the right hip. Inhale the arms up overhead. Palms connect. Exhale, lower them down all the way into your forward fold. Hands to the floor, or you could have them on a block. Same position here. Take that right leg back behind you. Just start on the big toe. Drop the right hip even more than you think you need to. Hips again facing towards the floor. And then slowly lift that right leg before lowering it back down to tap or hover. Inhale to lift. You want those glutes to be warming up here. Exhale, lowering down. Just a small movement. Great way to create that space and flexibility through the hip. Now the next time that right leg is lifted, you're going to take it as far back to the mat as you can. Lower down to the right knee. Bring the hands to the hips. Your aim here is to bring the hips over the top of that back knee. So rather than pressing the hips forward or sinking back, take the time to position the hips over that back knee. Switching on those right glutes, take the arms out in front. Imagine you're holding onto a block out there and then reach that block forward as you round through the spine. It might feel like you're dragging your front foot back and your right knee forward. Inhale, lift up, take a moment to reset as you expand the arms, and then exhale again, reaching forward, dragging that back knee forward, active through the glutes. One last breath in. As you breathe out, lower the hands to the floor. Your right hand is on the floor or a block. Pick up the right knee. Extend the left arm up towards the ceiling to twist. Heavy through that right heel. One last breath in. As you exhale, lower the hand. You're stepping to the front of your mat as you inhale and lift your chest halfway. Exhale to fold. Spinal roll or reverse swan dive to come all the way up. Release the hands down to the chest and then all the way down to the hips. Once again, feel into that neutral pelvis, whether it's rocking it forward and back or even rocking a little from side to side. We're then sending more weight into the right leg. Take your left leg back behind you. Feel those hips facing forward evenly. And then just beginning to lift that left leg a little way off the mat here. Aim to keep the spine upright. And then bringing that left foot underneath the left hip. Circle the arms up as you breathe in. Draw yourself down through center, bending the spine generously, lowering the hands to the floor or a block. Taking that left leg up, extending the left leg, dropping the left hip. Feel the left glute switching on as you lower the foot down and then lift it all the way back up. So you're not aiming to lift as high as possible. You're not aiming to open that hip. But instead, get that sense that those left glutes are working here for you. Next time your left leg is lifted, you're going to take it all the way to the back of your mat, lowering down to the left knee. Hands to the hips, bring the hips over that back knee. Take the arms out in front, holding onto that imaginary block. Reaching forward while you're rounding the spine. Think about creating space between the shoulder blades. Legs are drawing towards each other like you're closing a pair of scissors. Reset as you inhale, open the arms, lift the spine, and exhale, coming forward again with the arms, with the torso. One last breath in here. As you release the breath, release the hands down. Left hand to the floor or a block. Picking up the left knee, heavy through the heel as you rotate around. Left hip, left rib cage coming with you. Maybe looking up to the top fingers. One last breath in. Releasing the hand all the way down. You're going to step your way back into your down dog. Bend the knees, lift the sit bones, draw the belly to the thighs and lengthen through the spine. On your next breath in, coming forward into your plank. As you exhale, releasing with control. Taking the arms back alongside you, finding your locust pose, reach to fingers and toes, lift the legs, arms, torso and head. You might be drawing the shoulder blades a little more to each other, creating that space across for the chest. One last full round of breath in. Using your exhale to slowly descend. Take a moment to rest on one cheek. Feel the back body switching off, turning the big toes in and let the glutes relax now. From your belly, start to come back up into your Sphinx pose to prepare for this twist. So from the forearms, you're then going to bring your right knee out to the side. Feel free to have a look at this first before you come into it. As you lift the right elbow, the left arm and shoulder are coming down onto the floor, as is the side of the head. Now, as you open up through the arm, this top foot, this right foot, keep it grounded. Position it either in front or behind that bottom leg, but aim to bring the right shoulder blade down. Touch down the right shoulder blade. Use that positioning of that right foot to support the lower back. And then feel those parts of contact into the floor and let go for these next 3 breaths, all of the effort that you've been applying through this practice. Making that choice just to take this moment to soften. And then rolling all the way back onto your belly, where you can again pause on one cheek or on the forehead. As you prepare for the second side, lifting up through the torso and the left knee out to the side. Slide that right arm through, down onto the shoulder. Let the head come to the contact of the floor and then rolling open through the chest. Sliding that right shoulder blade through a little more so that you might be able to bring the left shoulder blade down as well. So focusing more on that mid and upper spine twist. Do what you need to do with this left foot to ensure that there's no pulling through the lower back. The lower back, as I often mention, is not designed to twist. It might feel good, but we're looking to have sustainability in our personal practice. Now this time to release, you're just going to come all the way onto your back. So finding your way onto your back and onto the middle of your mat. Your knees are bent, you can connect the soles of the feet and then find your way into a more passive reclined butterfly pose. Perhaps the feet are close to the body, perhaps they're a little further away. Making that connection with your breath, starting to invite it to slow down a little now. Could you switch off a little more through the glutes and the inner and outer thighs? Relaxing the pelvic floor. And using the hands to support the legs, the knees are facing back up towards the ceiling. Let the knees rest towards each other, have the feet out a little wider than the hips. Just a moment to reset, and then as you're ready, begin to extend your legs down to the far corners of your mat, preparing for Shavasana. Could you commit to just these next 5 minutes to stay with me here? I know there can be a tendency, particularly when you're practicing at home, when you're practicing on your own, just to move back into your day. Generally in a class, we're in Shavasana for more than 5 minutes for sure. Shavasana is vital to a wholesome practice. But could you spare just 5 minutes of your day now? Feel where your body touches the floor. Making a conscious choice to surrender all of the effort now, all of the doing from this practice. The eyes closed or that gaze soft, turning inwardly past the physical layer of muscles, moving into that more energetic space. And as you start to release that, holding what you know is true, that vision of your body, we're so familiar with the external. Could you just let that fall away now and feel a little deeper? Maybe it feels as if you just opened a window and let a cool breeze in. It may be as if you're looking in a mirror and reacquainting yourself with parts of your body that have been forgotten. And it doesn't have to feel like anything in particular. It can be enough just to rest back and enjoy this time where you're not needed. You don't need to show up for anyone. A few minutes to be free from responsibilities and all of the roles that we have in our life. And at times when our mind doesn't feel like it's cooperating, when it needs just a little bit of extra encouragement to come to this party of quiet, to stillness, we know that we have the breath to guide us back. Right now, your breath is just happening. The body is breathing in, and the body is breathing out. There's nothing that you need to do. Just witness it. Be here with the breath. Be here now. So well done for just taking 5 minutes out of this day to step back. And if it's at all possible, I encourage you to stay a little longer. Everything will still be there when you're ready to step off your mat. Thank you for taking this time to join me for this practice, and I wish you well. Namaste.